Connie told me. Look, you don't mind if I stick around, do you, JB? I want to hear the rest of the dirt.
Oh, dirt indeed. I can't think of a more apt word to describe my existence in the last decade. I want to relate the entire filthy story, JB. But where do I begin and where do I start?
Well, we already know about the piano being programmed to blow and how you saved JB's life that night when you ran out on the stage and stopped his solo piece.
Oh my God, Connie didn't leave much out, did she? Oh, I want to thank you for that.
There's really no need, I guess.
Well, all these years, I didn't know until Hopper just a few days ago.
Yes, I know.
You know?
Yes, I've been in touch with Hopper by telephone. He's my oldest friend.
Well, why didn't the old coot tell me you were still alive?
Because I asked him not to. Hopper can keep a secret. JB, I think it would be a good idea if you were to lock the front door.
Well, sure.
He goes to the front door and locks it, and then returns beside Skipper.
So, anyway, after I fucked up the assassination of Hoover, the faction of the FBI that wanted him dead was so angry with Liz and me that they pushed that disgusting cow in front of us. Liz, in point of fact, was killed when she swerved off into the river.
So Liz is dead.
That is, I believe what I just said. Yes, Liz is dead. Dead as a doornail, as I shall soon be. Dead as a doornail. But I mustn't ramble. I'm struggling for air as it is. I don't suppose there'd be a tab around with him.
There's 2 cans out there. Bring them both in. We'll share them.
Diana exits to the kitchen.
Liz is dead and I am alive. You've got that straight now, don't you, JB?
Yes, except what does dead as a doornail mean? Is a doornail ever really alive? Okay, I'll shut up.
Good. On that fateful night, I was merely knocked unconscious. The FBI picked me up on the shore under the bridge 5 minutes after the accident. Because my uncle's a Supreme Court justice, they just couldn't murder me outright. But the trouble was I knew too much. They couldn't let me go.
Diana returns with the tab.
You knew too much about the assassination plot.
No, pay attention now. So the FBI flew me back to California, to Martinez. I was demoted and for the past decade or more forced to perform sexist secretarial work for the FBI. The years I'm talking about here are the years when the FBI stuffed me in some dirty little apartment in Martinez and made me work 8 hours a day addressing envelopes.
Slide. Skipper sitting at a desk, typing with high stacks of paper around him.
That room had no ventilation, which is probably why I'm dying of emphysema today. But there is one thing that entire experience did for me. One benefit that made it almost all worthwhile. It got me in touch with the female part of myself.
Yeah, you haven't even scratched the surface, Dudley. Men cannot be feminists because they're men.
For the first time in my life, because I was treated like a woman and forced to do women's work, I knew from the bottom of my
Hairy balls.
I nurtured that female part of myself. I gave a strain and more identified with her until she took over the bigger part of my psyche. All my life I've been taught to deny the female side of myself, but after this experience, I tell you, man, I'm a feminist.
There's a big difference between being a bottom and being a feminist.
Skipper, why didn't you come to me as soon as you got free? And why did you contact Hopper and not me?
I was afraid to. I've been staying in that deserted house for days now, trying to work up the nerve to approach you. When your sister ran into trouble with her baby, I knew I had no choice but to show myself.
You're the one who ate my lemon meringue pie.
It was very good. I returned the plate. Did you get it?
That was very thoughtful.
And there's another reason I was afraid to come out.
Yes?
Drugs. After the FBI fished me out of the river that night in '69, they fed me LSD. Lots of it. It was while under the influence of psychedelics that I cracked. Finally, I confessed the truth to them and they told me if I ever once stopped dressing those envelopes and tried to contact you, they would kill you.
What was it you confessed?
I have something to tell you that you've never known, JB. I'm gay and I love you.
I have something to tell you too, Skipper. I'm not exactly Sean Connery myself. I'm gay too.
Really? I always thought there was a chance, but...
Skipper, I think I love you too. I've never said that before to anybody in my life.
There's one more thing you should be aware of. The FBI would be truly displeased if they knew I told you everything. The FBI would be displeased enough to come in here and bloody the walls with our brains. I'm the walking definition of ephemeral. I haven't long to live, but the rest of you...
Nobody's going to do any violence around here as long as I'm here.
Well, that is so butch and reassuring, Mr. Perhaps I haven't fully communicated the implications and possible consequences of my visit here this evening.
Suddenly there's a loud knocking at the door.
Open the door. It's the FBI.
I recognize that voice. Quick, blow out the candles. At the door is one of the most sadistic FBI men in history. At the door is someone who watched over me those years in Martinez. At the door is a man called Wolf.
By now the candles are out except for one beside Skipper. He reaches over and blows it out in the dark. The sound of the knocking continues in the dark as the lights dim to black. End of Act 2, Scene 3. Scene 4. A few chords from the opening of La Boheme. The next morning. The sofa has been pulled out into a sofa bed. JB and Skipper are lying under the covers. Skipper is nude, but JB wears the tops and bottoms of flannel pajamas. Skipper raises himself to his elbows and softly kisses JB awake.
Good morning, stud.
What time is it?
About 8.
Well, I'd better get up and practice. I've just begun working on a difficult Brahms piece.
Oh, don't get up. You'll wake up the baby with all that awful banging on the piano. You don't want to wake up the baby, do you? Stay here with me and rest a while.
I forgot all about the baby. I'm an uncle now, aren't I?
All these years I've dreamed about you, Uncle JB, and now here you are, all mine.
I dream about you, Skipper. Oh, Skipper. You should save your strength.
Why should I save my strength? I'm going to be dead in a week no matter what I do, so I might as well do what I most enjoy doing.
You're not going to die, Skipper. Please stop saying that it's morbid.
Actually, sex and death go together. If I'm forced to have one, then you better believe I'm determined to have the other.
You better not do that anymore. Connie and Diane will hear us.
I want to teach you all about love, JB, while I still have the energy. In this world of cold technology, the sexual impulse is the only hope any of us have. I want to teach you everything about the sexual impulse. It's the key that opens the door to the oceanic oneness of the universe.
Don't talk like that.
Like what?
Dirty.
Dirty? You call that talking dirty? It's watered down D.H. Lawrence. Are you saying D.H. Lawrence is dirty?
I'm just not comfortable with that.
After what you and I did to one another last night in this bed, talking about the sexual impulse offends you?
I don't mind doing it. I just don't like talking about it afterwards.
You don't mind doing it?
You have to remember, Skipper, I wasn't born a jaded queen like you. This is something like a shock.
Did you just call me
Oh, nothing.
a jaded queen? Actually, I'm beginning to have the unsettling feeling that I'm going to lose my temper and pull your hair.
Skipper, those years in Martinez?
I didn't trash around in Martinez, JB. You don't have to worry about that. The sexual impulse and myself were virtual strangers those years I was held captive in Martinez. It would not be an overstatement to remark that the sexual impulse might be missing altogether in Martinez. At least it was the years I was kept there. Well, it was. I was only ever alone with one man all that time. The man I am referring to here is my guard, the someone who watched over me in Martinez. The man I'm talking about here is Wolf, Vincent A. Wolf, the FBI agent with the thick black mustache and all that black wiry body hair. The man who was at the door last night and who threatened to, quote, make me sorry, unquote, if he ever manages to find me again.
You mean you? With Wolf?
He made me. He did, I swear it. He forced me. Over and over again.
You made. Oh.
Sort of.
What's that supposed to mean? Everything's sort of with you.
JB, why are you questioning me like this? Why did you call me a jaded queen? What do you know that I don't know you know?
Papa never told me you were still alive, but he filled me in.
He filled you in about what?
Your past history?
Actually, I can't believe that.
Actually, he told me everything about your past history.
Actually, I still don't believe you. Hopper wouldn't go around telling tales, not after what I did for him.
Well, apparently after what you did for everybody.
I'm really not up for this kind of thing today, JB. I'm really not. So knock it off. So what exactly did the old senile blabbermouth tell you? Not that any of it's true. Hopper's always been bitter because I wouldn't, you know, with him.
Oh, that's interesting.
Why is that so interesting?
Because Hopper said you did do it with him. He told me that, in fact, you service most of all the available men in the United States service. That you were a total tramp.
Actually, that's a gross exaggeration, and only women are tramps. I just hope I live long enough to get my hands around that scrawny old neck of his. So what, even if it's true? At least I won't die an old, uptight priss.
Who are you calling a priss?
JB, do you always wear these pajamas to bed?
I turn the heat off at night if it gets cold.
JB, you additionally have your underwear on underneath your pajamas. No one I've ever met has worn their underwear beneath their pajamas.
I do.
I know you do, but it's unhealthy. It's constricting.
I don't find it constricted at all. I find it comfortable. I don't suppose you ever wore a pair of underwear in your life. I mean, why waste too much time pulling them off all the time, no doubt.
Don't talk dirty, you'll get me all excited and I'm going to jump you again. JB, in the old days, you never got much encouragement for your piano playing. Has that changed?
And what a nasty question that is. Listen up, Skippy. Does a real artist care what his audience thinks? Because I never did and I still don't. I play for the audience of myself. Wait. I don't want to fight with you, Skipper. What are we doing fighting? I'm sorry. Stop.
You started it. I sure as hell didn't want to fight. I'm not well enough for a fight.
You saved my life. You saved my sister's life. And you saved my little niece's life. I don't want to fight with you. I owe you so much.
Diana Wood enters from the bedroom dressed for work. She's rubbing her eyes.
Good morning, boys.
How's Connie and the baby?
They're both fine. Your sister's hungry. She says she wants to eat Indian. Would you guys like to eat Indian? I always enjoyed eating Indian.
Breakfast?
She meets later, of course, for dinner. Do you want me to cook Indian tonight, JB? Let's see, there's 4 of us and the baby.
Wow. How did that get there? The 4 of us and a baby. I mean, what the hell? We might as well invite Skipper's friend Wolf back for dinner.
I want to thank you for handling Wolf last night, Diana. You did a magnificent job. All those years I was held prisoner by him, I never saw him cower, so...
It was nothing. Wolf is really a pussycat. He's hebephrenic. His mind rattles away, unhinged in pointless conversation. I knew he'd back down once I threatened to expose the entire story on my television show. Which reminds me, I'd better get my tail into the station and find out what horrors await me.
Diana, why don't you just once try looking at the brighter side of things? You're always so negative. Inflation is getting a little better.
Do you know who you sound like, JB? Miss Atlantic City, your sister.
Well, her positive outlook is the best thing Connie's got going. That's how she survived.
Ah, survives. Who wants to survive?
I wouldn't mind at this point. Actually, at this very moment, I feel worse than I've ever felt in my life.
Okay, well listen, I'm late, so I left a list of things we'll need for dinner tonight. JB, you go out and pick up the groceries, and then we'll cook Indian tonight.
Don't count on me for dinner. Actually, I'd consider myself fortunate if I made it to lunch.
You should see a doctor, Skipper. You truly should. Either that or stop whining all the time. Oh, shall I bring the baby out before I leave? You really haven't held the kid yet.
No, thanks. Babies smell funny and make those grunting noises. Let me give you one word of advice, though, Diana. Don't let Connie teach that little baby any nursery rhymes. Nursery rhymes are sexist.
Listen, Skipper, I know you're dying and everything, but I'd appreciate it if you'd stop patronizing me. Complaints of sexism from a man are so fucking sincere.
Please, don't start, you two.
I'm not starting. I don't have time to start. I'll call you later, JB. I've got to go.
Diana exits.
JB, last night I was thinking, I was hoping, you and I could be lovers for a short time.
Oh, I don't know, Skipper. I've never had a relationship before, even for a short time.
I mean a real short time. Listen to me, when we were separated all those years, all I do is think about you. Now that I have you, I can't let you go. I have to hold on to the things I love in life, or I don't have a chance to get through the very few ephemeral moments of life I might have left.
I'm sorry we fought.
I'm cold. My hands especially are cold. I'm beginning to feel like Mimi in the last act of Bohème.
Frozen little fingers.
That helps, but my feet are cold too, JB. Do you have any gloves around? Any insulated boots?
No, I have a Miss Piggy potholder in the kitchen.
A what?
A Miss Piggy potholder. You slip it over your hand and it makes Miss Piggy's mouth move.
Civilized society is insane.
Connie bought it for me.
I only have 2 cigarettes left. Of course, nobody here smokes, right? Nobody here would have a cigarette I could bum. Wolf used to smoke cools. But rather a cool than nothing.
Well, my sister smokes. She's probably got a pack of Newports in the bedroom.
Newports would be just fine. Newports would be just dandy. I was carrying a book when I walked in here last night. Play It As It Lays. Joan Didion is my goddess. Have you seen it around, JB?
Let me get the Newports first.
JB exits to the bedroom.
I wouldn't suppose there would be another can of Tab, would there?
JB comes back with the cigarettes and a book.
Connie's sleeping. Her book was in the bedroom. Here's the cigarettes. Now what is it that you want?
A Tab, if it's in too much trouble. Or you could crawl back in bed with me for a while.
Let me get the tab.
JB exits to the kitchen. Skipper arranges the cover, lights a cigarette, and opens his book.
Only 20 more pages.
Skipper, I've been thinking about your lover situation that you mentioned, and well, quite frankly, I think you're on the money. I'm a loner, but people can change, can't they? I mean, Skipper, hey, you get used to being, in such a bad mood in the morning because, well, you're right. I mean, we do have to hold on to the beautiful things, and Skipper? Skipper?
JB lowers his head onto Skipper's and cries while from the bedroom a baby starts to wail. There's the unsettling